Good morning to you. Welcome to the arena on Voice of the People 96.1 FM. My name is Gesire Agua. On this show, it is a flagship current affairs and political show where we beam our searchlights on pressing national issues and see how they affect Nigeria and Nigerians. This morning on the show, we're discussing the fate of the PDP moving forward. From 1999 to 2003, the People's Democratic Party held sway across 5 southeast states as the ruling party. Gradually, like shooting stars, its light would soon blossom brightly and eventually darken in the political firmament. Several factors have been responsible for the PDP losing out in the power play, foremost of which includes dumping honored party ethos, values, tenets and tradition that have constituted the bedrock of its strength, positive public perception and distinctiveness. Succinctly, today's PDP refused to play by its own rules. Its utter disregard of rule of law has become its Achilles heel. The utter disregard for law and order precipitated the exodus of its members in Imo State with spillover effects in Abia State. Remember, in the Imo PDP debacle, it began in the run-up to November 2023 governorship elections in the state. Before the PDP's governorship primaries, Honorable Emeka Ehedioha counted his losses and withdrew from the governorship race, paving a way for Senator Samuel Anyao to emerge unopposed as the PDP's governorship flag bearer. From that point on, and there's been a bitter tussle for the soul of the Imo PDP between the two political stalwarts. Apart from that, we also have this issue between Wike and Fubara, who's also a governor under the PDP. Well, there's been a lot of issues with the PDP's caucus choice of a national secretary. There's been conversations about that. There's also been conversations about the PDP's disciplinary committee that was inaugurated last month to punish Wike, Autumn, and others for anti-party activities. The officials of the PDP may have decided to punish members who worked against the party and its candidates in the 2023 general elections. Besides, the party sometime in August inaugurated a 26-member disciplinary committee headed by former Minister of Foreign Affairs Chief Tom Ikimi to look into the case of anti-party activities by some of its members. Former Deputy National Chairman Chief Olabode George and Senator Olaka Nwogu, an ally of the Minister of the FCT Nyesom Wike, are some of the members of the committee. Wike, who was former River State Governor, and his Benue State counterpart openly declared support for other presidential candidates other than the Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, who was PDP's flag bearer in the presidential elections for 2023. The party had earlier ruled out disciplining members who played anti-party in the last general elections because every party member contributed to the loss. That was what the PDP said. However, we keep seeing situations where anti-party politics keep going unpunished, and you begin to wonder what exactly is the fate of the PDP going into 2027. I mean, we know these politicians, once there's election drawing near, they somehow put their heads together, resolve whatever issues because there's a common goal to ensure that they win the elections. But we'll watch and see and have this conversation this morning. Over the course of the weekend, we have a Wike who was dragging governors under the PDP. He threatened PDP governors for supporting Fubara, and he vowed to instigate crisis in their states. Just imagine, apparently miffed by the decision of governors elected on the platform of the PDP to approach the party's national leadership to hand over the party's structure in the River State to Governor Siminalayi Fubara, the minister of the FCT, Wike, has threatened to instigate crisis in any state whose governor interferes with the politics of the state. Meanwhile, we have a president who has heard something like this and will not punish Wike for making statements as huge, as indicting as this. Well, we have Mr. Larry on the phone this morning. Good morning and welcome on board.
Good morning, Jesse. Good morning, Abuja. And good morning, Nigeria. It's a good day to to be a Nigerian. I wonder what is happening with us. That is, this empty-handed syndrome has to stop. But let's not digress.
All right. So, I mean, we've heard the opening remark about the PDP and its fate going into other elections. I mean, they are off-cycle elections. We have Edo State just, a couple of days away. And we have the PDP who has refused to punish individuals who played anti-party politics. Normally we have a party who has different party organs. He has different working mechanisms within the party to punish, to reconcile, to bring people together. There are different organs in the party to ensure that issues are discussed within the party and settled within the party. During the build up to the 2023 elections, we had a Wike who openly refused to allow any issues to be resolved within the party and decided to play anti party politics. But what exactly is your take on all this drama so far?
I think what is happening in PDP, it's a manifestation, it's an extension of how Nigeria works. Well, it's embarrassing, totally embarrassing that after losing the 2015 presidential elections, that the PDP didn't learn any lesson from that debacle. Because one would have expected the PDP to sit down and do some post-mortem and ask simple questions like, how did we get here? How did we just lose this election? But they didn't. And it's the same primary reason the election that they're still grappling with, and that to listen to voices of discontent, their inability to settle their differences before the differences drown them. And that's the same story we're hearing now from Yedioha, who did so much of the party in Imo State, only won an election, but by popular opinion, victory to other major players in PDP who feel aggrieved by the way the party decisions are usually handled. I think the PDP is also evidence that we don't have proper political parties in Nigeria. I've always said that political parties are basically shops that you rent to run your political ambition. And that is what the crisis in PDP and the other major political parties actually demonstrates. The truth is that unlike political parties that are driven by ideology elsewhere, our political parties are basically platforms that you come and rent a space for the purpose of contesting elections or for the purpose of becoming a party chieftain so that you can get contracts and other financial rewards somehow. Another deduction we can safely make from this debacle is the fact that though PDP consistently shouts about power to the people, there is neither power nor people in PDP as far as that slogan goes. The umbrella is totally in tatters. This umbrella has so many holes that I don't know how it can protect anybody. When they shout power to the people, I'm puzzled. Why? Because when Wike was speaking at Port Harcourt, he said power to the people, they shouted PDP. Power to the women shouted PDP. Power to the youth, the youth shouted PDP. And I was puzzled. I was actually amused. I was like, are these people really powerful in PDP? The answer is no. When they say power to the people, it's a grand deception, because in PDP, the only people who have power are the political gladiators like Wike and other senior boys. The people don't count. They are just pawns in the game. That is when they are even remembered as pawns. And that is sad for a party that prides itself as the biggest political party in Africa. They just don't get it right when it comes to people participation in democracy. They don't listen to the people. They don't recognize the people. They just shift them around for the benefit of the big wigs. So when you look at the fact that PDP is totally immune to the voice of the people, then you can see why they're where they are. People were screaming from the rooftop even before the elections. That's 2023 elections, that Wike should be expelled from the party, that he should be punished. But they didn't listen because most of the time their politics is a case of day your day, make I day my day. You should get what I mean. That is the average big boy in politics is always scheming about his own benefit, and then he usually doesn't want to spoil another person's scheme except it affects him or her directly. So that's how the game goes. But when you contrast it to what happened in the United States recently, where Kamala Harris was actively supporting her boss, Biden, Joe Biden obviously was supposed to step down. It was clear that he couldn't cope with the campaigns, all things considered. But Kamala Harris, the VP, for her principal. But guess what? When the voice of people became vociferous, when people, even Biden allies began to say, "Oga, see, you can't continue this," and they were sincere about it. One of them said that if he's my father, will I subject him to this? That I wouldn't. I will tell him, Daddy, it's time to go. So Biden did what Nigerian politicians won't do. Like a bolt from the blue, the man said, I step aside. And then immediately the same Kamala Harris that was supporting Biden for obviously loyalty reasons, so that the house won't break apart. Harris, I mean, how do we really describe her? What kind of unknown quantity is this? But that's the power of excuse me, that's the power of a house that is united. And that's the power of the politics. This is a country where if your president is dead and generations that dead, so that challenge PDP has. And the truth is that this challenge is not exclusive to PDP, but unfortunately they have not been able to understand the fact that they need to fix their house, put the house in order before they can reclaim power at the center. Remember what happened to us after APC won the election. They couldn't appoint ministers. They couldn't do anything. Why? Because they were foot ministers. Then they fight and the horse trading started, and it took almost 6 months for us to get ministers. So you can imagine. But they understood that if we want the power, we have to get it first before we learn any lesson from that. Because they fight so hard that they don't get the power and everybody loses out. That's what Wike did to Atiku. That's everybody like had his own candidate. Wike was supporting somebody else. Autumn was supporting somebody else. And they said they're a political party. Doesn't make sense to me. The umbrella is in tatters, and I don't know how that umbrella can give anybody cover.
All right, you can join the conversation where it's at Voice of the People Abuja on YouTube. We're live right there, Voice of the People Abuja. Now is to touch like that and see how we can move forward, because they're the biggest opposition party at the moment, and we're just wondering how they'll fare moving on into off-cycle elections. But yesterday a conversation was had at the PDP's Congress, and Wike was talking about the fact that any single individual who is trying to support a Fubara, he himself will go ahead and cause crisis in their own states. He told the PDP governors who said they would take their structure and take River State structure and give it to Fubara, to expect political crisis in their own states. I mean, this is an indictment if I've ever heard one. What's your take on that?
He said that was going to put fire in their states. And that statement is dangerous. In a country where things are done properly, you don't make that kind of statement and go back to Abuja and you're sitting pretty as a minister. First of all, he's showing wrong example as a leader, with all due respect. I'm not a member of PDP and I'm not a member of APC. I don't belong to any political party. Like I always say, I'm a politician, but I'm not partisan. Because as long as you have political interests, you're a politician. But I'm not partisan. So when I speak as a Nigerian who wants the best for Nigeria. I was shocked by Wike's speech, and he was fully aware that this speech was being not only recorded but transmitted live. And he said things like, "I'll put fire in your state. I will see." How does a man put fire in a state? How does a man cause crisis in another state? So he basically validated some of the speculations that have been going on, that it is politicians that cause crisis, like kidnapping, banditry, insurgency, and all of that. Even crime, because I don't understand that kind of threat. How can you put crisis in a state? But moving away from that, there are more fundamental statements he made that are very dangerous. He indicted the judiciary in public. He said that this is how they shop for, things that we have been saying because we noticed that they were happening. He confirmed them from the other side. Oh, that's the way they shop for judgment here and there. They knowing that it will amount to nothing. I'm not saying that I agree with him in terms of whether the judgments were shopped for or but the fact that he was saying that was an indictment on the judiciary. My pain is that he also indicted the bar. In fact, that is even most embarrassing. How? He made me personally believe that the senior advocate of Nigeria is not worth the say he's wearing. Because he gave the impression clearly that if you work with Wike, you become a senior advocate, which suggests that when you work with certain Nigerians, you become a senior advocate. But I thought the last time I checked that a senior advocate is a person who has achieved certain milestones in legal practice and has to follow certain rigorous processes to emerge as a senior advocate. People have been speculating that many of these things have been politicized. Well, he just went ahead to tell us that one of the fastest ways to become a senior advocate is to work for Wike. And that is embarrassing. It's a serious indictment and embarrassment for the bar. So he embarrassed the bench, embarrassed the bar, embarrassed the political parties and systems, told us clearly that it's about personal power, that if you touch my state, I will scatter your state. I'll be honest with you, I was really taken aback. I've always known that Wike doesn't talk like a statesman, but this one actually went like practically over the roof. I couldn't understand how, as a lawyer, he could make those statements without looking at the implications. But that is what happens when a man feels, and probably rightly so, that is an untouchable, that is above the law. One of the biggest problems we have in Nigeria today is not corruption, but impunity. Because we know that we have a problem with corruption. But when corruption is laced with impunity, the understanding or the belief that nothing will happen when you do something wrong, it's the worst kind of corruption, it's the worst kind of situation any country can be in. And that's what played out in Port Harcourt, a very high level of impunity. And surprisingly, nobody's doing anything, nobody's saying anything, because he's sitting pretty in the corridors of power. So PDP can't do anything. That he's playing a very interesting game. Remain in PDP to keep an eye, in my opinion, for the APC on PDP and scatter what they're doing, if you want to use the Nigerian balance, and then protected by the center. So that PDP can't really do much. But I think the center should be responsible enough to let him understand that there are certain things you don't say in public domain, like put fire on a state, that even if you're in charge, of course, referring to Bala, that anywhere you are, that I can put fire. So somebody should go and ask him, how do you actually put fire in a state? Somebody should ask
exactly.
that question.
What's the nature of the fire?
That are not telling us anything. How do you? I mean, by now you should have come for interview to tell them. So assuming they because what they were doing is not in hiding. They were not talking of putting fire in your state. They had a meeting. It was in public space. And you are saying that you put fire in that space. If they put, are you the owner of the state? If they put fire in your state, what
All right.
impudence? But I think we have been giving politicians so much space for bad behavior that it's almost impossible to rein them in now because they are like bulls in a China shop. They just destroy everything. And we are all paying the price. It's not just about PDP, but today we're talking about PDP, which, I mean, I'm sure APC leaders will be very happy. They'll be smiling, grinning from ear to ear. But the truth is that these symptoms are
All
in
right.
all of the parties because the fact that Wike is even working for and working with APC while undermining PDP is a sign of the kind of politics we play in Nigeria.
All
Parties
right.
without ideology, politics without principle.
All right. We'll give a little bit of direction to that ethos of parties, direction of parties and all that. We'll look at that when we come back from this break. We need to pay some bills. We'll be back in a moment. Stay tuned.
You dey travel go another state? Send area to 7340 make we tell you where trouble dey. You wan know wetin town dey talk? Send area to 7340. Traffic dey hold you for one place? No worry, area go show you better way. From 15 naira per day, area go make you safe. Oya, send area to 7340 now. This one na for only MTN users o. Area, your travel padi.
All right, so welcome back. This is still the voice of the people, 96.1 FM, and the show you're tuned into is The Arena. And we're having a conversation with Mr. Larry about the PDP. PDP is just a case and study right now, but we have political parties with no ethics, with no ethos, with no should I call it what's the word now, values, virtues. We're supposed to have principles guiding a political party, and that is what informs the decisions of a political party. But so far, that has been quickly eroded by money and the love for power. And what we're having right now is just politicians running amok, running wild, and doing whatever they want because they have money, or because they have power, or because they're in certain positions that will benefit a political party. I don't know if it's possible for us to go back to how it was, where you have ethics, you have the party ethos, and you have guidelines guiding a party, principles guiding a party, the activities of a party, why they feel the particular candidate, who that candidate is, if the person is a person of virtue and whatnot. Anyway, Mr. Larry, do you think it's possible for us to go back to that time? This is in 1999. At least we had a little bit of direction in terms of what parties were and what they stood for.
It's possible, but it's difficult because it's about leadership. It's about leaders who take responsibility, who lead by example, who respect both the letter and the spirit of the laws that they have to play by. Not leaders who are in politics strictly for the purpose of enriching themselves. So we can get back there, but it's an extremely difficult process because the people who should take us there are the same people who are reinforcing the understanding, the paradigm that all you have to do is to be powerful enough to defend your position, and then you can do anything you like in the Nigerian political space. So I don't know how we expect such persons to take us back there. It is when people, the civil society, it is when we find a way to call these men and women to order by hopefully having an electoral system that works, that will then equip us to remove people we don't want in the political space, at least as key players. When we have that instrument, then we can exercise more power. And then hopefully we can elect people who are principled, who will lead by example. And when that happens, we hope that we'll begin to go back to parties with ideology. When we also begin to make choices, for instance, now, personally, I encourage people to vote candidates and not parties because, as far as I'm concerned, we don't have functional political parties. But when we get to that point where we can get political leaders to define their ideology and stick to their ideology, then maybe we can go back to using the party as a platform that can reasonably screen candidates for us, give us candidates, then we can say, oh, this is what PDP stands for, this is what APGA stands for, this is what APC stands for, this is what Labour Party stands for. So even if you don't know the candidate too well, you can trust the party. But as it is in Nigeria, I can't trust any political party. So we need to take over the space once more. What I mean by we, I mean the ordinary Nigerians should find a way to participate actively in the political space so that we can get the parties, if we can infiltrate the parties and ensure that, for instance, primaries are democratic and that elections are also transparent. If these things happen, then we can get leaders who can take us back to a proper democratic system. But what we have now basically is a business political system. There is absolutely no difference between business and politics in Nigeria. If you are a successful businessman in Nigeria, you have political power. and you have money. If you're a successful politician in Nigeria, you also have political power and you have money. So I don't see the difference. It's just that one will rent shops in the mall, the other one will rent shops in the political party head office, which is also his own mall, and they do business. We need to stop that system.
All right. Looking at the PDP in itself, we've seen over the years where the internal mechanisms of the party, where you have punishments meted out to individuals who maybe did one thing or the other, maybe anti-party activity, or you caused some sort of issue or the other. I remember, I think it was in 2022, where Ondo PDP had suspended 13 of its members for anti-party activities. There was also a call for I think it was Obi, Suswam, Segba, Sumba, and all others in Benue State House of Assembly as well. I mean, there's been different cases like that where the party actually, the mechanisms of the party to punish individuals for indiscipline and anti-party activities, it worked. So I don't know why we're having that right now, because clearly whatever the PDP has been doing isn't working. They're not in power at the moment. So why don't they put things in place to ensure that they aren't aggrieved members who might be playing anti-party politics on the low? You may not even know that these individuals who are aggrieved for one reason or the other, maybe because a Wike hasn't been punished, or Samuel Autumn hasn't been punished for his part in PDP's failure during the elections. I mean, we saw all that drama play out, build up to the 2023 elections, and still the PDP know what more lessons need to be learned. What more lessons need to be learned by the PDP?
Well, the PDP is actually gradually imploding. They punished Chief Dan Obi basically because he doesn't seem to have the clout to manage the intricacies of the politics of PDP. The way I look at it, if you look at what Chief Dan Obi did or didn't do, and you look at what Wike has done and how Benue State Governor actually autonomized with, that was actually for me the height of it, but nobody could do anything about it. PDP kept trying to patch it up and patch it up and patch it up until the damage was finally done. But what surprised me is that even after the damage was done successfully, they are still not able to do something about it, and further you having the capacity to do it and get away with it. And that's how it works generally in Nigeria. I mean, what Mr. A will do and get to jail, the secretary of the PDP, the national secretary, who contested the elections, and then the Southeast decided to nominate someone to replace him, and then the court in the Southeast says, and that tells me that we are not really ready for democracy. Like I've always said, democracy works where people are enlightened and are reasonably guided by principles. We need to do something to clean up our democracy very fast. We always say, we are trying, but the truth is that we are not trying. Let's just call it spade a spade. We are not trying because we openly destroy all the tenets for which democracy is known. We people don't have any power. We don't hold a free and fair election. The primaries are not primaries, they are selections. The votes don't count. The people break all the rules. You see talks, they destroy election materials, and the government will not do anything. That is, you see the person's in anarchy and chaos, and they say it's a democracy. So we need to get to that point where it starts from internal party claims. It's a tall order, because the same people we are hoping will champion this
To talk a little bit about independent candidacy, but I think that might shoot our time way past. But okay, maybe we'll just take that for a couple of minutes, 2 3 minutes. But where's the
Well,
place of independent candidacy in all of this? Since we have party organs who have refused, that have refused to function in the way that they should to ensure that there aren't individuals who are angry or frustrated with the party. So the place of
consider having independent candidates. But of course, if we want to do that, then there should be strict screening system that will also be democratic and transparent enough. In other words, the conditions should be such that you won't have 1,000 persons contesting for a House of Assembly position. So it's a good idea to the extent that a lot of people who can provide leadership are not willing to play party politics. If we can say, for instance, like they do in some climes, oh, you need 5,000 role candidates because sometimes they don't even have a kind of money to get the ticket. So we need to clean up what we call democracy in Nigeria. It's in tatters, and it doesn't look like democracy if you really compare what we do here with what democracy is supposed to be. It doesn't look as if we're making progress. That the learning curve is becoming just permanent because we are not making progress with this learning we are doing. But maybe we have to focus on solving some of the fundamental problems before we start experimenting with independent candidates. Because the truth is that are we going to be able to manage it? Are we going to have 200 persons contesting for governor in a state just because a person wants them on the ballot? That is, for me, the most worrisome part about independent candidates in Nigeria. A lot of people will want to contest just for the sheer fun of putting their names on the ballot paper. So it's something we have to think through, but it's a good idea, intellectually speaking.
all right. Thank you so much, Mr. Larry, for your time this morning.
It's my pleasure to be part of this conversation, and I hope that we will all not only listen to the voice of the people, but take the voice of the people seriously. The umbrella should do well to listen to us and go and fix the umbrella, because that is the major opposition party in Nigeria. And if the PDP doesn't do the needful, we are finally headed for a one-party state. God forbid.
All right. Thank you so much, and have yourself a wonderful Monday.
Do take care of yourself. Have a wonderful week.
All right, we're moving on to the sports bit segment of the show, and we're talking a little bit about sports, trying to find out what exactly is going on in the sports sector of the country. I mean, under 20 World Athletics, we had that, and once again, we came back with nothing. For lack of a better word, we thought, do. That's what we came back with. Nonso, good morning to you. Welcome.
Good morning, and thank you for having me. It's a pleasure being part of the show.
All right, so we had the under 20 World Athletics Championships. Say again.
I said if you look at the under 20 championship, we didn't expect much from the lads. Let's be realistic. Some of the ladies who participated at the under 20 World Athletics Championship were the best of athletes at the Olympics. Some of them went into the under 20, and most of the athletes who won medals at the Paralympics for other countries were also below. Most of them are around that under 20 age as well. So we also, it was more like giving the girls exposure. Some of the ladies, especially those who did not participate at the Olympics, got a chance to run for Nigeria, represent the country, and as well give themselves a best shot. So I wasn't expecting much. I don't know whether you were optimistic. Did you see any Nigerians complaining after they did not do well? Because let's say it's a fallout of what we saw at the Olympics. Athletics has not been where it used to be, where it ought to be, and where it has to be at the moment.
Well, this is, even if Nigerians do not complain or talk about it, monies went down to make, I mean, logistics, you would ensure that movement is smooth. Monies were paid to these individuals, yet it was an abysmal performance. I don't know how much more we can keep taking on projects like this without anything coming on to the country. It doesn't make any sense at this point. But anyway, any more sports stories?
We need to begin to learn how to invest. We need to learn how to I think we need to learn how to begin to invest in our sports, which is my major problem. Our investment in sports, especially athletics, has been abysmal. And at some point, like I said, it's not about winning the tournaments, in my own opinion. I believe age grade tournament, whether football, whether it's tennis, whether it's football, is about athletics development. And the fact that we saw, like I said, some of the athletes who are at the Olympics participate, the fact that we saw some new athletes also try their luck, more or less giving this. Now we've got this athletes participating at the athletic championship. Can we keep giving them competition? Can we keep giving them so many games, give them enough, test their best, the best in Africa, test the best in the world, and then maybe by the next 2 Olympic Games, we can begin to think of winning laurels. So for me, it's about grooming young talents for the future. I know Nigerians will say, "Oh, taxpayers' money again," and we're not winning anything. But I'm not one who wants to be too focused on the age grade, because to me, I'm a business. I see age grade practically as an avenue of grooming young talents for the future.
All right. So, any more sports stories?
Absolutely. You talked about another age grade, 20, the World Cup. Nigerian Falcons were in action yesterday. Defeated Korea by a goal to nil. Continental go by Flourish Sebastian in the second half. Late in the second half, they won by a goal to nil. Don't forget that other group counterpart, Germany, as well defeated Venezuela, because it's spanking by 5 goals to 2. So Nigeria play Germany next in 2 days' time. We'll wait and see whether they can also get the required results. They need to move forward as well. Also, it was before we left walk flu on Friday, we realized that a certain coach, Labadia, has made a U-turn, and he will no longer be in charge of the Super Eagles of Nigeria for that game against the team from Benin Republic, and of course the game in Rwanda in Kigali against the Mavubis. We now know that a certain Oseni Guavon will be in charge of the team. We hear the camp will open today, that is Monday, and Guavon will decide. We'll talk to the NFF about the guys he wants as assistant, but he has given a chance to appoint 2 assistants who assist him for the 2 games here in Uyo and in Kigali. Again, this comes to the question: how do you announce a manager without crossing your eyes and dotting your T's? Another discussion for another day. But again, Nigeria thought we had a coach. Scratch that. We don't have a coach officially. We do. What we have is an interim manager. For Labadia, we heard it was tax issues. He wanted the NFF to pay his tax agreements in Germany. And the NFF were like reluctant to do so, and that's what it means, is that he would not be in charge of Nigeria, at least not in the nearest future, not now, not in the game on the 7th, neither would it be in the game that will take place on the 10th. Moving on, good news I can tell you, just early hours of this morning, I know this one will excite you. Nigeria has won their first medal at the Paralympic Games. A certain Miriam Eniola Polaji, she won Nigeria's first medal at the Para Badminton Women's Singles SL3 event. She beat Koznia Oksaka of Ukraine 21-9, 21-9, and she has won a bronze medal in badminton for Nigeria. I know that would sound like good music in your ears, and I know you would love that to hear that news. Anyway, enough of the Paralympics. We hope that more medals will come in anytime soon. But let's go to what's happening in Calabar. The Nigerian Women's Football League Championship is ongoing as we speak. Match day 1 and match day 2 is done and dusted. I can tell you, in Group A1, Hero Queen 0-7 to Imo Striker. First Mayi Babes defeated Kasmog 4-2. In Group A2, Rasbach International 1, Galang Queens 2. Osunbe defeated Moji Queens by 4 goals to nil. From Angels defeated Papa Soccer by 3 goals to nil. Unification FC Delta Base by 2 goals to 1. And in Group B2, Honey Badgers defeated Green Star Ladies by 4 goals to 2. Wakwara played a goalless draw with Fortress Ladies. In day 2, games we saw the UJS when I stayed up here in Calabar, Imo Strikers lost to Pelican Stars, the host team, by 1 goal to 2. Casmok Ladies defeated Heroes Queens by 2 goals to nil. In A2, at the St. Patrick College, you saw Balance Queens Cardinal Queens by 2 goals to nil. Mojo Queens played a 1-0 draw with Rasbach International. At B1, Papa Soccer Angels led Chosen Generation 5 goals to 1. Delta Beach 1, Ibon Angels 2. In B2, Factors Ladies losing to Honey Badgers by 2 goals to 1. And Dimstra Ladies 1. Not qualified for the playoffs in the NWFL Championship as the battle for the teams that will make it to the NWFL. The first of men's football in Nigeria continues. Don't forget, 19 teams are in Calabar, but only 2 teams will get the required ticket to play in the foremost league here in Nigeria. Also, the Victor Osimhen issue continues. We hear he's not in the squad for the Serie A. We hear that Napoli were greedy, asking for more money, and that deal did not go through on deadline day. So he will stay put to. We're waiting to see what becomes of him. Because as I speak to you, Oseni has not been registered for the Serie A team, talking about Napoli this season. It means it could be 6 months of turmoil until January when he can get a better deal somewhere else. I just wish him all the best of luck in that one. In the PFL, exactly. In the Nigerian Premier Football League, the league has begun officially. I started with one big game where Enugu Rangers could only get a goalless draw against Economy Warriors. It looks like the curtain raiser, the federation, like we call it, the competition of Nigerian football, the winner of the Federation's Cup, Economy Warriors and Enugu Rangers, and then goalless at the Unamdi Azikiwe Stadium. They call it the Cathedral, far away in Enugu State. That I can let you know. Also, it was good news for Nigerian players abroad. We saw that Wabali became the captain of Chippa United. This guy left Brentford for Osborne, Frank Onyeka, who is also part of the Super Eagles team. Olisanda has been given the captain and Orlando Pirates. His team has made it to the Rich Cup final. Git Urban was on target. He scored twice for Olympic Lyonnais in their victory against Strasbourg in the French League. It was a good, but sad one we can let you know. Watford FC have sacked his certain Samuel Kalu. He's been struggling with so much injury, and the club has said, Sifini, enough is enough. Thank you very much. We can't take it anymore. Also late on Friday, we discovered that a certain Subamba, former Côte d'Ivoire international, died at the age of 39. It was a really sad story that hit the road. But let's now go to the top 5 leagues in Europe, guys, because of time. A lot of things happening. Man United got crying. I know you love to hear that news. Man United, yes, they cried. They cried so bitterly in front of their home fans at Old Trafford. They were well beaten by Liverpool. by 3-0. Liverpool on fire yesterday. It was the Salah Diaz show. And yet again, for the 7th consecutive game in a row, Except Musala has scored at the Old Trafford. They can't seem to stop that guy from scoring. And for Ten Hag, it's same old story again. We will get better this season. Unfortunately, they are crashing like a pack of cards.
What do you think about Rashford?
I think he's surplus record. I think it's high time he left. The fans are already calling for his head. I think he's super distracted. He's an English grown player, and it'll be difficult for them to let him. Not today, not tomorrow, and hopefully not ever that day. But if he must leave, it has to be nobody because they are stuck with him because the transfer window is closed and shut. It's happened to lose it, and I'll say our power when the ovation is loudest. It was absolutely gutsy. Watching him play is excruciating. I'm not a Man United fan, but I know what it looks like for a Man United fan watching him play. For a player who earns big bucks, one of the highest paid players at the club, really terrible. To the guy that said you should know when to tell the club, thank you very much. I know you pay me, but I can't play anymore. My body can't take it anymore. This is why I was giving a lot of praise to studying Cristiano Ronaldo. Remember when I said he's 39 years old, he looks really young. Casemiro is how old again? Please remind me. 34 years old. He looks like he's 45. Absolutely bonkers, to be honest.
Casemiro is 32, but his form seems worse.
Exactly.
Way worse.
Exactly. So CR7 got here. I think he can play 2 more years. CR7, I think he will play to 41. I'm not in his body, but I think he's got the body to go 2 extra years in that way. But it is what I know you love this one. And Haaland is on fire. Arsenal drops point. Man City is on top of the table. Madrid, Mbappe is in winning mood. 2 goals for him. I think win. Barcelona are scoring mood. 4 games, 4 wins, 7-0 dropping. So it seems like the big boys are turning up, But for Leverkusen, this is the biggest. I will end with this one. That 35-game unbeaten run in German football ends as they were beaten by a team who would have expected them. RB were beaten by 3-2 this weekend. I think this is how much my time can take on Sport Bits today.
All right, so all you haters, keep watching Man City top the chart.
You guys will drop points, I promise you. Come on, I'll remind you. You guys will drop points. Man City, they will drop points. I don't think they will leave for the. If they will for the 5th time they roll, I think we should just close the curtain and say it is the Man City's league. And I don't think it will happen this year again.
We'll watch and see how all that drama plays out. But anyway, it's not looking good for Manchester United. We'll watch and see how all of that plays out. The season is still on, so there's still a lot of time to level up. So we'll watch and see how that plays out. Thank you so much for your time, Nonso, this morning.
Absolutely grateful to be here. Always a pleasure talking sport all day long, every day, and twice on Sunday.
All right, have yourself a wonderful day.
Thank you very much.
To you listening, thank you so much for being a part of the show this morning. It's been quite interesting. Manchester City has been doing so Well, on Saturday last week they won their match against Ipswich. Yesterday on Saturday this Saturday they won their match against West Ham, and they've been on fire. I can't wait to see more and more and more of them. So Man City, Liverpool, they're at the top of the charts at the moment, and we'll watch and see how all that plays out. For all you haters wishing Man City to go down, well, the sky is the limit, right? The starting point. Watch and see. Thank you so much for listening to The Arena on Voice of the People 96.1 FM.